Hi everyone, it's Desiree. I am here with Birch Press Designs, and for today's project we are going to use the Cora Layering die set. So this is 3 layers and I love the shape. The shape is very unique, so it's going to make a great focal point. So again, this has a different shape, so it's not a full card front layering die set. And each of these layers will work very well on their own, especially the layer A. So as always, I did all my die cutting offline and I wanted to make a slimline card. I have now jumped on the whole craze of slimline. So this panel here is actually cut 3.5 by 8.5. And I'm also going to use 2 of their sentiments that I have already taken care of die cutting as well. The one is the Big Sugar Script Birthday and also the Jumbo Lingo Happy Birthday, which is part of their new release as well, along with the Cora. So I'm pulling in my makeup brush blender and the Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going around the edge of this card panel very lightly. Now, the reason why I chose to do that is I cut this to be 3.5 by 8.5, so I didn't want to make the card base bigger, because I always cut my card bases to be 8.5 by 7, and then I score it at 3.5 for my slim lines. I didn't have this for a mat, because these dies, the way that I'm sitting them, are almost 3.5 inches. So I wouldn't have had too much room, although making it shorter and having that mat behind would have been cool. So, I mean, that's another option as well. So, once I was done that around the edge, I cleaned up my makeup brush. I'm going to set that aside so that it can dry. You can see I already have my sentiments cut, and I'm going to use my liquid adhesive. I used the cloud. For the cloud die, for both of them, I used my vellum. And then for the top, I actually used the Memory Box glitter cardstock in one of the light colors. And I did that for both, the happy and the birthday. Now for the birthday, the whole word comes out as one. You just have to, don't lose the I. And then for the happy, each of the letters are individual, so they're not connected. So you're able to just have the letters if you want and place them around. And you can see how the cloud looks. I mean, that would be absolutely fine on its own as well. So you do have options when it comes to creating with the happy and the birthday. I mean, what's great is you can cut into your cardstock and create your dimension, and then these can have different levels as you're putting them together on your card. I am unclogging my liquid adhesive. Yes. So I'm going to place, I use the same glitter cardstock that I did for the birthday. Now, these are very large in size. So one of the things that I thought of, you can see I'm going to have 3 of the layered pieces that are going to sit on the front. So one of the things that I usually do too is there's times where I don't like to put a sentiment on the front of my card. I mean, by all means, to each his own. It all depends on what I did to the front. We put a lot of work. This is just my way of looking at it. There's a lot of work sometimes that goes to the front of your card. Sometimes by putting that sentiment, you're kind of covering it up. Again, my rationale, thought process, which is very different than a lot of people. So sometimes I won't put my sentiment to the front. I'll actually, the sentiment that we normally use to the front of our cards, I'll put to the inside. So that when you open it up, you see that sentiment, and you can still, write your message to the recipient. Or if you're in a hurry, just put love me. That's sometimes what I do. Because I am always late. And I am always just to the last minute. I am a procrastinator. It's just what I do. So, you can see I've layered those dies. They layer very well, as I was gabbing there just a little bit. So now I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to use the mat that I'm working on to center these pieces. And you can see that panel's cut to 3.5 inches tall. And you can see the way that I'm placing them, they are just right there. But again, it would have been okay if it was smaller. It just would have run off, which would have looked really cool as well. So I'm only going to glue half of these on. Now, yes, I could have just created 2 of the die sets, and then when I cut it in half, I would have had both sides. Yes. I don't think ahead. I just have an idea in my head, and then I go with it. But that doesn't mean I will definitely use those on other cards. When I'm just sitting here and coming up with ideas and stuff like that. Once these are all set in place, I will use my long shears and cut off those edges. Although it does look pretty cool like that. It's kind of different. Kind of a neat band. Anyway, cutting gingerly off from the sides. And usually when I do make cuts like this, I will do it with the back showing to me, because I can use that panel as the guide for when I cut. So here's what I'm looking at to say, okay, to show you, by putting both of these on there, I'm really covering up the beautiful layered dies that I have there. You're kind of losing all of that detail. Again, the layered dies make it easy to create that, so to speak. So I didn't want to cover that up. Now for here, I'm actually creating my base. So again, I cut it 8.5 by 7 and I score at 3.5. I will use my paper creaser just to continue that crease down, because since it's 8.5, it's longer than my EK scoreboard. And this is going to get adhered right to the front of that, and it will cover the entire front. For my slimlines right now, these are ones that I will hand to people. I do have a way to make an envelope, so I will show you that shortly in another video. But no sooner I'm making these, Hubs is grabbing them and using them, which is good. I'm going to use my liquid adhesive and I'm going to set the happy right in the front, centering it onto the main layered die. The birthday is going to be placed on the inside. This would have been fine if you placed the happy and the birthday on the inside. Again, cards will be opened so you can see all of what the sentiment says when you open it. Even though I used the vellum and the glitter, the vellum does help to frame the birthday on the inside of the card. I am going to grab some confetti sequins. These are by Pretty Pink Posh. They are their sparkling clear confetti. And I'm going to place those throughout just to add even more glitter. This card, as I was putting it together, they remind me of snowflakes. I know they have more points, but they do remind me of snowflakes. So this would be an awesome winter birthday card. because of the colors that I used. And the cardstock that I used is actually by Recollections, Michaels. I love their colored cardstock, especially when I'm layering. It's not too thick. I do like the thinner layers when I'm doing my layering dies. After I have my clear confetti placed around, I'm going to put that back in, excuse me, back into my container and clean up a little bit. So I do hope you enjoyed this project using the Cora Layer die set from Birch Press Design. Again, as always, many possibilities. But as always, all the products that I use will be listed down below. And if you have any questions, please list those down below as well, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and just taking the time to check out this video. Again, I do hope you enjoy it. And by all means, continue to stay safe and healthy. I hope everyone is having a great day, and always remember what's most important for me each and every day. Always be creative.